Hey squad, Sykes here and welcome back to InstallationX, and today I am dropping a Halo Infinite gameplay breakdown. So at the Xbox Game Showcase we got to finally see the gameplay for Halo Infinite, especially the campaign. Multiplayer is coming in the next couple of months. But what I decided to do is I'm not going to script this video, I'm going to give you my raw breakdown of what this gameplay has shown us. Now, before we get into it, there's been a lot of talk about the graphics of this demo. I'm going to leave that for an entirely different video because there's lots of things I want to talk about the graphics. But today I'm just going to focus mainly on the gameplay elements and the sandbox that we got to see within Halo Infinite. So we got an awesome reveal trailer at the beginning, the Become trailer, which showed Master Chief's Mjolnir armor being formed and basically built from the ground up, really. And we then go straight into this screen, which is the Halo Infinite demo screen. Now, I don't know if there's much to look into the screen itself, but we do get to see the look of the stone rings that we've been seeing a lot in the trailers from E3 2018. And it seems to me that it looks like how the Halo would set up as if it was firing. I think a lot of people have kind of glossed over that fact. A lot of people said it could be a portal, it could have something to do with slip space. I don't know if it's anything in general, but it's something worth thinking about. And then after we see the title screen, where a lot of people were probably spamming their start button, we get into a cutscene. Now I'm going to pause it here because this is a very important piece of information. 167 days after we lost. So it looks like the gameplay and the campaign itself is going to be set around Master Chief figuring out what the hell happened on this ring and what the hell happened to the UNSC during this battle. And we get into a great cutscene, and we get to see some really, really cool dialogue between the Chief and the pilot. I'm loving the pilot. I think the pilot is showing that he is a deeper character than any character that was in Halo 5. I felt Halo 5's cutscenes were rubbish, to be honest. I think it was one of the worst parts of the campaign. They were very weak. They didn't really kind of go into any real detail about the characters. They didn't show us any depth, any emotional range. It was all very flat and rather boring, to be honest. But just in this opening cutscene, we get to see Chief kind of be very opposite to the pilot. The pilot is very emotional, very emotive in general, frustrated, showing a lot of range and depth, whereas Chief, as ever, is very mission focused. He is very much focused on what he needs to do and the task at hand and how he can allow himself to move on with whatever the hell's going on this ring and to try and piece all these bits and pieces together, really. And I love this cutscene. I think a lot of people kind of ignored the cutscene itself, but I think this was really, really good. And I love the way that the pilot is kind of standing up to Chief and not really kind of bowing down to his superiority here. And I love the fact that we're trying to get that link back to his family, how he wants to go home. And it's just a really good contrast. I feel like something's been missing since Johnson was killed off in Halo 3. We haven't really had that camaraderie with just a bog standard human character, human marine, and it seems like the pilot could be taking this role. They tried to fit Lasky into this, but it hasn't really worked for me so far. And then we get to see that kind of more empathetic side of Chief, showing that he does understand the pilot, but they have to focus on the mission at hand. And then the game just opens up in this great shot. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it here and show you guys, like, this first scene here as we look out onto the ring with the AR and with the backdrop and with the wildlife just looks so good. And instantly you're already seeing this is very expansive, this is very open, and this is not the bog standard linear kind of mission that we usually see in Halo, which I'm very excited for. Now the AR itself, I like the look of the AR. I've not really bothered too much about what people have been saying about the AR. Again, I'll get to that in my part 2 video, but I like what we're seeing here already. And then it rolls into, we get to see more wildlife, and then it just rolls straight into the grunts. And I'm loving the sound of the AR, to be honest. I'm not too bothered. If we pause it here, we can see that there is a bit on the plasma pistol, where if you have a look at the pickup, it says pistol, it says plasma, and then it says charge. So a lot of this is indicative of what we're going to see new in Halo Infinite. We're going to get to see what kind of weapon you're picking up, what kind of projectile it's going to use, and how you would use that. And I think that's really, really smart. I think that's good for newcomers, hopefully joining the franchise from Xbox Game Pass, but also I think it's a nice little effect. I like the look of the grunts. I think their models are absolutely fine. The shield boot up I absolutely love as well. I think that's really good. We get some great scenes here with this crashed ship. This is not the Infinity, so don't worry about that. We'll probably find out what happens to the Infinity. We get to see the Banished Phantom. I really like the look of the Banished Phantom. Some of those vehicles are going to be coming over. And then we get to this. So Chief starts sprinting. Now, my opinion on sprint probably isn't as strong as some other people's out there in the Halo community or on Halo in general, this sprint, no sprint debate. I don't mind sprint. I think if you're going to have an expansive game and an open world campaign, I think sprint kind of has a place. I'm more bothered about how sprint is going to fit into multiplayer because I felt that the movement mechanics along with sprint in Halo 5 were just way too far away from what the core Halo formula was. I don't have a problem with sprint as long as it's balanced and it doesn't break map design and stuff in multiplayer. But I think here, I'm not too bothered about it. We then get a closer look at the Warthog. They've kind of stuck with the 343 design here, which I like. I think the 343 design of the Warthog is much better. Again, a sign that there's probably going to be vehicles littered around from the past battle that you're going to be able to use to move yourself around the environment. And then we get to probably the biggest reveal of the whole trailer, and that is the map. So we get to have a look at the open world, or I think it's not going to be fully open world. It looks like it's going to be zoned open world, where you're going to be able to come into these open world areas and explore them and complete the missions within them, and then you're just going to transition into a different open world area. But you can already see that it's quite fractured, the map, into different sections of the ring. So it looks like we're going to have lots of different areas that we're going to be able to explore. A lot of people have talked about the upgrades and the database tabs at the top left. The upgrades tab seems to be will probably be something related to Chief's Mjolnir armor, something to do with the grappling hook or grapple shot that you're going to see in a second. And the database is most likely going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, a full codex system, which I think Halo's needed for quite a while now. The lore of Halo is so rich and deep with the Covenant, with the Banished, with the Created, the Forerunners. Like, there's so much going on in Halo that I think having a database and a full codex and having all the lore, well, not all the lore because there's too much lore to have in just this game, but a fraction of the lore in this game, just be well spread out for people to be able to read, to be able to look at, to spend the time to go away. It's going to be great for content creation, which is awesome. And then you can see that there's multiple missions going on. We can see if Chief hovers over, or you hover over a mission, you're going to be able, I don't know what the star symbol or the 0320 means at the moment. Obviously the next symbol, the shield with the sword, that's the normal difficulty. And then it looks like the other two graphics are going to be some form of collectible. Maybe it's to do with ordnance surveys that they had, or ordnance in general, I think they had in Halo 5. You can see here where it says we're not leaving the island until we take out the banished AA cannons. These are 3 of them. They're heavily defended. Proceed with caution. Sorry, I'm reading this off my iPad, so it's a bit difficult to read. But you can already tell that this is way more open and confirms that open world that Halo has, or Halo Infinite is going to be going towards, which I'm very happy with because I think having an open world Halo Infinite campaign is a very good thing. At the end of the day, this is the time and the place for them to innovate. I think I would rather them stick to the formula within multiplayer. So you're going to select one of these missions to go on. It looks like you can target them and go about them in any order you want, which is brilliant. And then we get to see a really neat moment with the Warthog just driving around, and then we get to see that really kind of big jump, and you get to see that open kind of area again, which is great. This is very large. And then we get into the real crux of the gameplay here, which is we get to see the splash of the plasma grenades, the grunts getting run over, the jackals getting run over. Again, I really like the grunt design at the moment. This new Magnum is called the Sidekick. Now, I don't know if it's taking place of the original Magnum. There seems to be lots of debate about this online. It looks like, from what I've been able to find out so far, that these weapons are new weapons that are going to supplement the sandbox. They're not going to replace the original weapons, but seems like they're going to be attached to the sandbox, because it looks like the rec weapons aren't going to be coming back to Halo Infinite, which I'm kind of gutted about. I like the rec weapons, I like the variants of those weapons, but I understand why they're not doing that. They're doing a hard reset on some stuff. So introducing new weapons that kind of stand next to the originals, like the Magnum, the AR, the BR, the shotgun and whatnot, I think is a good thing. But I like the look of this Magnum, and again, I don't have too many problems with the sound design. I like it. I'm not one who's really uptight on sound design, so I'm cool with it. And then we get to the Elite. Now, I absolutely love this Elite model, because the Elites in Halo 4 and 5 were ruined, in my opinion. And that's not me trying to be harsh on 343, but what the art direction they went around with the Elite was very, very poor. I didn't like it at all. The elites were, in the original trilogy and even in Halo Reach, they were slim, they were lean, they were agile, and they were difficult to kill. In Halo 4 and Halo 5, they became much more stocky, much larger, and much slower, and they were just kind of throwing their weight around a little bit, and it just didn't work from a gameplay perspective, and it just felt off. So the fact that we're now going back to this classic elite design, I'm really happy with. I like the barrel roll, the evade, as it was in Halo Reach. And then we pick up the Commander. Now, this weapon is, I don't know, it's kind of a weird hybrid between an AR and a BR. It's got that kind of scope with the BR, but it's also at a firing rate closer to the AR. But I am absolutely loving how this weapon is popping off. And then we get to the zoom. Now, it looks like we're not going to have ADS in Halo Infinite, which I'm not too bothered about. I like the ADS in Halo 5, but I understand why people want to go back to that classic zoom in that we had with the original trilogy and with Halo Reach as well, and even Halo 4. But I like the look of this a lot. I am hoping that I can equip that to my left trigger and just to be able to use my left trigger and right trigger to zoom in and to shoot. That would be really cool, but I'm liking this so far. We obviously get to see the Needler in action as well. Again, I'm loving the sounds. Good scale. Again, we get to see some backdrops. I don't have too much of a problem with this kind of hexagon stuff going on with the shield reboot. I'm absolutely fine with that. It's not too much of a problem. And then we get the brutes. And now these brutes are very clearly like berserker brutes. They're dropping in with no weapons. They're going to charge at you. We get to see Chief throw a plasma grenade on one of them. Then this bit is really, really interesting. The next brute has been named Craig by the internet. Very interesting. If you want to check that out, go check that out, because it's one of the most hilarious memes that's come out in Halo for a very, very long time. But he's going to charge at you, and what you're going to see is you're going to see the gameplay shoot at his legs to knock him off balance, to then give you the option to then shoot him in the head to try and hit, basically take advantage of those weak points, which is really, really neat. I'm really liking the armor pieces dropping off as well. And then we get to see a drop wall. Now, a lot of people were freaking out by this point because it says, and I'll hopefully pause it here for you, the pickup fusion coil. This is ridiculous, right? Fusion coils are something that we haven't seen since Halo 3, I think, and so far, up until the point of this gameplay, everything has been feeling very Halo CE, very original Halo vibes, which I like. But this is where we get straight into what I consider more Halo 3. And Halo 3 is my favourite Halo game ever, of all time. It's my favourite game of all time, period. And the drop wall is kind of considered something like an evolution of the bubble shield. We also get to see spike grenades come back into the game again, which is brilliant because they're back from Halo 3. And now I'm feeling really, really strong Halo 3 vibes, which I absolutely love because Halo 3 is such a great game in my opinion. Again, we're seeing kind of what we saw in Reach, really. It's kind of a combo between targeting the weak point, hitting the head, knocking off the helmet, and then trying to take advantage of the open head for those kill shots. And then we get to see the grapple shot. The grapple shot, oh, the grapple shot. I'm really, really liking the look of this already. Being able to pull yourself towards enemies to then deal either a melee or a stick grenade, which is brilliant. I'm absolutely loving that so far. And then we get to pick up the Ravager. So the Ravager is a new weapon. When this got picked up when I looked through the gameplay demo the first time, I thought this was the Brute Spiker. I thought the Spiker was coming back. But it's a completely new weapon. It looks very, very menacing. I really like the look of it. And then we're going to go up to this elevator. It doesn't look like we're going to get any quick time events, which I'm okay with. I didn't have too much of opinion on that in the first place. I know a lot of people are very happy about that, but I'm okay about that. We've got the Vista, which I'm going to talk about in more detail in part 2 because there's a lot to break down in that Vista in general with the graphics side of things, so stay tuned for that. I will go over that, don't worry. And then we're going to roll into a really kind of neat piece of gameplay. Those original character designs, especially for the enemy types, are going to come back in full force by the looks of it because we get another look at the Phantom, but we also get this amazing pop of the shield from the Jackal. I love that pop animation. We're seeing the Ravager, and then right in the background you can see this grunt being launched by a brute. So apparently a new feature is the brutes can actually take grunts and lob them at you, and they're obviously going to be suicide grunts with those plasma grenades, so you're going to have to look out for those. It's absolutely wild. I'm loving the Ravager. I'm really loving the pop of this weapon, but you got to be careful because apparently it looks like it's going to overheat very, very quickly. And then we pick up this new weapon, which is the Pulse Carbine. So the Pulse Carbine looks like, again, like I said earlier on, is going to be supplement to the original Carbine. I do not want them to replace the original Carbine at all because the original Carbine is one of my favourite weapons in the game. So hopefully it will just supplement that. And then it looks like it's going to be kind of a hybrid, a bit like how the Commando was, between the straight-up plasma rifle and the Carbine. It looks like it's going to be a three-burst three-burst plasma shot, as you can see hopefully here. And it's just, the sound of this one is, I'm a bit like, okay, fine, it's kind of there. I'm not too bothered about the plasma sound design of this gun, it's okay. But the Ravager, again, is my favourite gun so far that we're seeing. And then we pick up what was called the Mangler. So the Mangler is kind of taking the replacement of the Mauler that looks like to be in Halo 3. And this is kind of acting as a kind of a hybrid between a brute pistol and a brute shotgun. The Mauler in Halo 3 was more of a shotgun more than a pistol, but this looks like to be kind of a hybrid between the two. We get to see the Grapple Shot again, using for traverse, and then we get into the sequence that made me pop the hardest in the entire demo, and this is using the Grapple Shot to bring the fusion coil to you, to then throw it at the Shade to knock the Shade shield generator down, which was absolutely insane. I cannot believe we're going to be able to see that. Again, we're seeing lots of more sandbox environmental stuff to be able to use explosive fusion coils and other barrels and whatnot. The Shade looks really neat, dropping out of the way of a spike grenade. Again, I'm liking the design of the Brute so far. It seems kind of a bit of a cross between the Halo Reach style and the Halo 3 style. And then we're looking at this. So this is the Bulldog. Now, this has gotten a lot of people talking online because this is a drum barrel shotgun, which looks to have 10 bullets in the drum barrel at any one time. And a lot of people have kind of been getting a bit angry about this gun because it seems to be that a lot of people are interpreting that this is going to replace the classic shotgun. Now, so far, we have no confirmation about that yet from 343 directly, but a lot of people have been trying to calm people down a little bit because they're saying that the classic shotgun and the drum barrel Bulldog shotgun have both been featured in the Mega Construct sets that were announced a couple of weeks ago. And again, if the Bulldog is going to supplement the classic shotgun, then I have no problem with that. If it's going to replace the classic shotgun, then I'm not sure how I feel about that. The classic shotgun has such a pop to it, has such a meaty, bang, and it's kind of really a significant weapon in the Halo sandbox. To replace that with just this gun, I'm a bit lukewarm on. But again, we'll have to wait and see whether we get both versions of the shotgun. If we're not going to get those rec variants, then we're going to get introduced to new weapons in general in the sandbox, which is a good thing. I like having more weapons in the sandbox, but time will tell whether we're going to see more of this again. And again, we get to see the combination of the Brutes and the Elites, which I'm really, really liking so far. I think the Elite designs maybe need a little bit of work, but hopefully that can be sorted out. Again, I'll go into more information on that in part 2. And then we get to see again the version of the Grapple Shot, getting up close and personal with that melee into the face. And then we're going to go up to this area, which is clearly the anti-air gun, and then we're going to go into this cutscene. Now, I'm going to talk about this cutscene here and now, because I talked about the cutscene originally, but I really, really like this cutscene, and I'm going to break it down and tell you why. So first things first, this is Warchief Esheram. This has been officially confirmed by 343, and he's got a very interesting armor set. I really, really like his design. It is very menacing. It's very in your face. And in many ways, it's very, very similar to what Chief's wearing. So a lot of people are kind of taking this, saying he's incorporated pieces of the Mjolnir armor into his weapon, his armor set, to make it look like he's taking trophies from the previous battle that happened that we're going to learn about in the campaign. His dialogue itself, Esheram's dialogue, is really, really cool. We get to see other shots of cutscenes as well. We're getting glimpses of what's happening here and what Chief and the pilot are going to be going through to try and figure out what the hell has happened on this ring. And for me, Esheram is standing out as a villain, again, that has depth. I wasn't someone who was hating on Cortana's heel turn at the end of Halo 5. I was actually okay with it. I liked what they were doing, and I liked the direction that we're going down, and hopefully we're going to hear more about what's going to happen with Cortana in this campaign. But Esheram's kind of dialogue in general here is just very, very interesting. He talks about the Harbinger that we haven't heard about so far. Hopefully that'll get confirmed. But he's kind of basically calling out Chief, which is something we've not really ever seen before. We've seen people insult Chief, calling him the demon. Esheram's basically talking about, after the battle, he's been bored, he's tired, he's weary, he wants a new fight, and he wants that fight to be against Chief. And for him to call out Chief is something we haven't really seen before, that I'm really, really excited for. Now, we get a proper good look at him as he transitions out of the holographic. Again, a lot of people are talking about his design. I don't have much of a problem with his design. I like Esheram generally as a character because he seems to be that kind of more older version of the Brutes, that chieftain. He has got the hair that everyone's been talking about online, and I really like his design overall. He seems like a character who is going to be difficult to take on, a formidable foe, someone that I'm going to really, really look forward to taking on. Whether he's really the big bad of the entire game that we're kind of being pitched at the moment by 343, I'm not sure. I'm thinking that's going to be a little bit of a red herring. But at the end of the day, I just want a villain who is going to be a real threat to Chief, a real threat to the galaxy once again, and hopefully he is going to be a character that we're going to get to interact with. But already the dialogue itself is way, way better than anything we had in Halo 5. And that draws to conclusion the gameplay demo. Now, there's a lot of things that I want to talk about the graphics. Again, I'll leave that for part 2. But I think overall, my general feeling of this is I'm very, very happy with where this is being positioned. They need to work on a few things, 100%. But I'm liking the majority of the weapon sounds. If these new weapons are going to complement the original classic weapons into the sandbox, then I'm going to be very, very happy about that. I don't have any problems with that at all. And again, this is just all my thoughts and views. If you've got different thoughts and views, that's absolutely fine. You know, we can chat about it in the comments. Be respectful, because I know there's a lot of tension and anxiety around Halo Infinite at the moment, especially from what I've been seeing on Twitter. It's been rather mental. But overall, I'm very, very happy with where this gameplay at. I'm absolutely buzzing to get hold of this game. This is a really, really good, I think, combination of certain things from Halo CE, from Halo 3. There's been a few callbacks to Reach, and there's been some stuff that 343 have stuck to their guns with from Halo 4 and 5 that they're keeping hold of. Again, Sprint I'm fine with, Slide I'm fine with. We got to see Clamber in there as well. These are things that I'm not really fussed about, but it seems that the biggest thing that is dead that I'm very happy about is Spartan Charge. I hate Spartan Charge. I've hated Spartan Charge from Halo 5. I couldn't stand it. And it looks to be that they're sticking to some of the core movement mechanics, but they're also getting rid of some of the more advanced ones, like Thruster, like Spartan Charge, like Ground Pound. And I think that is the right call. But I want some of those abilities in there to still keep the flow of the gameplay really, really nice. But overall, I was very, very positive about this. If you agree or disagree, then let me know in the comments, guys. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you leave a like, head over to InstallationX and subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Xbox content. Let me know your thoughts. More Halo Infinite will be coming your way. And as always, I'm Sykes, and for more on Halo Infinite and all things Xbox, stay tuned to InstallationX. Bye, guys.